He want to do.
Terence Crawford's 37. Devin Heaney said he thinks he would like him to retire. Do you agree with that statement?
He can do whatever he wants to do. He's been dominating for a long time too, so he can do whatever he wants to do. I would like to see him retire because it'd be hard for anybody to top that, and they definitely put him on the top 5 list, and he'd be able to stay there because he hasn't been beaten.
Last question. Is Terence Crawford the greatest of all time?
Absolutely the greatest of all time.
Where does he rank?
I don't know, but he's not the greatest of all time. He's greatest of all time.
Roy Jones Jr. now quietly reshapes the story of Terence Crawford's final chapter. As the entire boxing world keeps waiting for a massive Canelo rematch, Roy is guiding Bud toward a totally unexpected path. One that legacy still whispers, yet no one truly expected. He's revealing the crucial missing piece in Crawford's story that only one fighter can heal. Erislandy Lara. This isn't merely about another title. It's about closing down the last door Crawford ever left open, and Roy Jones Jr. understands precisely how Lara becomes that dangerous final piece that completes everything.
Alvarez has been a great fighter his whole career. People like Erislandy Lara gave you the blueprint on how to beat him. People like Floyd Mayweather also gave you the blueprint on how to beat him. But Bud is more fierce, more fearsome, and more angrier, and more meaner than both of those guys. So you know if they showed you the blueprint, Bud gonna go out there, take that blueprint, and do even more with it.
To understand why Roy Jones Jr. is pushing for this exact move, you need to look at Terence Crawford's journey. Bud has stacked belts at 135, 140, 147, 154 pounds, and 154, and then he jumps straight to 168 to topple Canelo. Do you notice the gap? He completely skipped through the 160-pound middleweight division. In the mind of a historian like Roy Jones, this becomes a missing thread. Jones insists that dropping back down to claim a middleweight crown isn't a setback. It's a calculated masterstroke. He frames it as sealing it shut. If he captures a belt at 160, the chain finally feels whole. And the case for the greatest fighter of this generation turns impossible to deny.
I don't know. I mean, I think he may want to go get a middleweight title because he skipped over that. He went to junior middleweight. No, he went junior middleweight, then went super middleweight. So he may go back to just capture middleweight title to close the gap, like I wished I would have did with the cruiserweight title. So I think he does that, and that's...
The middleweight landscape has become a quiet wasteland over the past few years, trapped beneath the shadow of louder names at 168. Yet that silence now slowly nears breaking. Roy Jones Jr. has zeroed in on this division as the ideal hunting zone because it is controlled by rugged gatekeepers instead of global superstars. You have dangerous holders waiting with belts Crawford wants, yet they lack the fame to demand the kinds of conditions Canelo pushes. This hands Crawford all the leverage. He wouldn't stand as the B-side pleading for a chance. He would arrive as the conqueror, dropping down to claim what he believes is rightfully his. Jones views this as the route of least resistance with maximum historical reward.
I did want to ask you about Terence Crawford as well.
Yeah.
A lot going on with him at the moment. No one knows his next move.
Right.
What would you like his next move to be?
I think he should go down and win a title at 160 because he won at 47, 40, 54, 68. Go get 60, you closed it off. It's fine.
Yeah. Would you like to see a rematch with Canelo?
Not really.
Okay. What about Canelo, I guess? What would you like to see in the future
I
for
don't
him?
know. Canelo can do anything he wants to. He's done so much already. There's really not much left for him to do. So it's really, I think Canelo probably could either take the rematch or close the door because Canelo's done way more than that.
Here is where the timeline turns truly intriguing. The 160-pound landscape feels hazy right now, but it sharpens completely on December 6th, 2025. That's the day marked for the massive unification showdown between the WBO and IBF champion Janibek Alimkhanuly and the WBA champion Erislandy Lara. This isn't just a fight, it becomes an audition. Roy Jones Jr.'s entire advice rests on the victor of this exact collision. On one side stands Janibek, the feared knockout force from Kazakhstan, who many continue to sidestep. On the other stands Erislandy Lara, the Cuban tactician and the oldest champion in the game, still armed with that clever, high IQ style that maddens everyone. Whoever steps out holding those 3 belts instantly becomes Crawford's next target.
Age-wise, of course, everybody's going to say Erislandy Lara because he's 40. But I would never come out of my mouth and call Erislandy Lara a weak link. I think there's no elite fighters at 160.
While Janibek rises as the young lion, there is a growing sense that Erislandy Lara might be the fight Roy Jones Jr. is quietly steering toward if he pulls off the upset. Lara embodies the old guard, a fellow strategist who reads the sweet science on a wavelength that matches Crawford. A showdown between Crawford and Lara becomes a chess match for the ages, a clash of southpaw brilliance that purists would savor. If Lara weathers Janibek's power and unifies the belts, he offers a legacy moment for Crawford against a name that has stayed relevant for more than a decade. It becomes a chance to defeat the man who once troubled Canelo, adding another subtle layer of "I did it better than you" to Crawford's ongoing shadow match with the Mexican star.
Bud's like my brother. I've been with him for the past probably 7 camps. He's taken 0 shortcuts. He's always 100% to himself. He never cheats himself, so. We're just in a routine. We know what happens. We come out here, just pass the time working out. Pass as fast. You work out so many times a day and get to it. You're working.
Crawford isn't just waiting at home, the phone's silent. He is already moving into his plans. Lately, Crawford was seen at the WBO gathering, and he didn't soften anything. He was settled right beside Janibek Alamkhanali's team, stared into the camera through the lens, and said, "I've got my eyes on you." It felt like a chilling message, or maybe a teasing one. We don't know. But what we do know is Crawford keeps focus locked on the 160-pound scene.
Say the same thing, I'm gonna sit down with my team and we're gonna discuss what's next in the future for Terence Crawford. And who knows, I might go down to 160.
Johnny, we're here next, looking for you, looking for December 6th, how you gonna do it.
I got my eyes on you, Janibek.
This viral clip signals that Roy Jones Jr.'s entire theory is already in motion. Crawford is circling the middleweight champions. He knows the winner of the December 6th clash holds the key to his 6th weight class crown, and he wants them to feel that he's coming for everything they're guarding. The other half of Roy Jones Jr.'s advice is easily the most explosive. Leave Canelo alone. Jones believes a second fight with Alvarez is a dangerous, low-reward move for Crawford's legacy. In Roy's eyes, Canelo has already run his race. The Mexican icon is healing from elbow surgery and carrying miles on his frame that are beginning to surface. Jones insists Crawford already beat him. Doing it again proves nothing. If Crawford loses the rematch, it stains the first victory. If he wins again, critics will shrug and say Canelo was old and compromised. It becomes a lose-lose scenario wrapped in a money grab disguise.
Canelo Crawford. I just want to get your reflections on that fight first.
It was a great fight by Crawford. Fought a very smart fight, just like I thought he would. The only problem I had was I was worried about his shoulder because some stuff came out about his shoulder being sore. So I didn't know about that. But if he didn't have any injuries, I knew it would be an easy walk for him.
Are you surprised by just how kind of confident and comfortable Terence was in there at all?
No, not at all. Because if you watch Canelo struggles with guys that can box. Terence can box from both sides, left-handed or right-handed. So how could you be surprised?
So there's a lot of talk about what next for both men. With Canelo Alvarez, where do you think he goes from here?
I don't know. I think they're trying to have a rematch, so I don't know.
Do you think he can right the wrongs in a rematch?
I don't think so, no.
Roy wants Crawford to chase history, not just another payout. And that history lives in that missing middleweight crown, not in a recycled sequel. The stakes here feel astronomical. If Terence Crawford follows Roy Jones Jr. and claims a world title at 160 pounds, he steps into a pantheon that is nearly empty. He would join Manny Pacquiao and Oscar De La Hoya as one of the few men ever to earn major world titles across 6 separate divisions. That becomes the kind of achievement that splits the great from the immortal. It's a mark that endures forever, long after the money from a Canelo rematch fades. Roy Jones Jr. understands this more than anyone. He leaped from middleweight to heavyweight to chase his own history. He recognizes that same spark burning in Crawford, and he's urging him to lock down that 6th crown, to guarantee that when boxing's story is written, the name Terence Crawford stands alone on the page.
But in terms of a fantasy fight, if you'd have ever shared the ring with a 168 version of Terence Crawford, would that have been an intriguing matchup?
Not really. I like Terence. Terence is a very good fighter, but Terence grew up on Roy Jones. It's hard to tell you these guys are going to whoop Roy Jones when they grew up, and they still asking questions to Roy Jones about how he did things. So they don't fully understand Roy Jones yet either. So it's hard to beat Roy Jones if you don't fully understand him yet. You understand me? So I mean, it's cool. He's a great fighter. Don't get it wrong. And it would have been an intriguing fight because he has a heart and he has confidence, and he's a very challenging guy. That's what I like about him the most. That's why I knew he'd beat Canelo, because he stands up to the challenge. So he would have been something to deal with for a few rounds early, but I was a different guy. I was much faster than 90% of the people I fought. You understand me? So it's like with my speed level and with the precision and things, even him. I had him training yesterday. I watched him put together some 4 and 5 punch combinations, and I think it shocked him because of how quick he can do it. So it's not about necessarily talent. It's talent too, but you gotta have know-how with talent. I had know-how along with talent. That's what this kid has.
Terence Crawford now stands before the final crossroads of his storied journey. One path pulls him toward a towering payday and a repeated clash with Canelo Alvarez.
For sure, but it's still, when you look at it, it's still excuses. Like I said before the fight, every one of my biggest fights, I say, I'm gonna be prepared for the excuses. When you so great and you so much ahead of your competition, they look at the fighters that you fight and say they nobodies because how much you beat them by or the level of skills that you oppose against them. So when I fight this guy, he was a nobody. When I fight this guy, he was washed. When I fight this guy, it's an excuse, So who you want me to fight? I beat this guy, it's an excuse. I beat this guy, he's too young or whatever. So I'm never really gonna give my full respect until afterwards. Yes, it's a lot of people that's changing their narrative. Like, man, y'all watching something great right now, and we not appreciating it. And it's sad to say that we waking up at the tail end of his career. We really didn't realize it until now when he's like doing extraordinary stuff, like going up 2 weight classes to fight the best fighter in that division, the #1 guy that's the face of boxing, and the way that I handled that, people like, oh man, something had to be wrong. Canelo had to be washed, or Canelo just wasn't in it. I see people saying, oh, Turkey paid for Canelo to lose, so I just think, when you that much better than the competition, people not going to give you credit until they sit down and look at it and just be like, man.
The other path, lit by Roy Jones Jr., leads straight to the 160-pound division and a chance to seal a flawless journey through the weight classes. The keys to this kingdom will be decided on December 6th when Lara and Janibek face off. Crawford has his gaze fixed on the victor, and if he pulls the trigger on this move, he won't just remain a champion. He'll become the only man to solve the puzzle across 6 divisions. The question looms, will he heed the counsel of a legend, or will the lure of the Canelo payday prove too tempting to resist? The clock is ticking, and the middleweight division is about to explode with intrigue.
I'm gonna judge Crawford over his last performance from Canelo, because there was, I don't care what a person say, they could say that Canelo's washed up, they say this, they say past his prime, yada yada yada. That's not what I'm looking at. I'm looking at how he executed the plan and how he neutralized the threat. So he did a phenomenal job with that. Bowman came up with a great game plan for that. I really believe that Janibek can get outboxed. I think he's going to get outboxed. He goes into 160. It's all going to determine on how he look against Lara. Because Lara is a crafty southpaw. And remember, I said this to you before with William Skull and Canelo. I said if he struggles against William Skull and he boxes him, it's going to just keep the blueprint solid for Crawford. So it's one of those things. So Crawford is a nice southpaw. He's solid. He knows how to utilize a lot of things. And it's like little details that maybe some of the casuals don't see, like how he positioned his foot, how he made Canelo smother his shots and still gave Canelo better exchanges in the inside. It was a lot of high caliber. Like you can tell why he deserves to be in that stage. But I got him boxing Janibek, and then after that, just walk away.
Well done. Right, so what's next for both fighters? Let's start with Terence Crawford. Where does he go? He's just stepped up to 168 pound and beat quite conclusively Canelo Alvarez there. And there's no one really now at super middleweight for him to test. Benavidez, he's gone up to light heavyweight. There's no one really in there. We saw Skull against Canelo, and Skull was quite slow and couldn't do much. I know Canelo stood off and didn't really stick it on him, but Skull showed no ambition. It's not a fight we want to see. I think really the only fight for both of these guys, Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez, is the rematch. Because where does Canelo go from here now? He's got a guy stepping up from welterweight, serving him up a bit of a whooping, because that's what it was. And now he's got, like, where does he go? He can't really compete up at light heavyweight because Bivol's done him. Benavidez has gone up to there now, and I don't think that's a fight he's going to fancy. I feel like a lot of people are saying he swerved that Benavidez fight, so I don't think he's going to want to go up to light heavyweight and fight him. So it's like the only sensible option, or the only real option, is the rematch. And that's the same for Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford's now 168 pound. Who does he fight? Who does he go for next? It's difficult. There's no other real big names. I mean, there's a kid in England called Hamza Shiraz who's tapping on the door for something big. And I had a chat with him yesterday, and he's talking about the Canelo fight, and he'd take that. But realistically, is Canelo Alvarez or Terence Crawford going to want to jump in with Hamza Shiraz? I mean, Shiraz has got a great future ahead of him. I think he's going to do really well. But he's not in that mix, is he? If he gets an opportunity, go for it. Don't think Crawford would be interested. Canelo, it does nothing for him. So these two, really, the only fight for him is the rematch.
Is Canelo done after this? And if he's not, he has 2 more fights with Turki Al-Sheikh. What other 2 fights can we see from him?
It's funny because when people ask me, are fighters done or this and that, I could never answer for a fighter if they're done or not, because it's a very personal decision from the fighter, including Canelo. As much as I hate him, actually, I don't hate, I just don't care for him. But if he wants to fight again or if he doesn't, that's obviously his decision. I have to respect that. So, but obviously, look, again, Crawford just took him to school. That's basically it. That's the bottom line. I mean, Crawford is older than Canelo, so we can't use the excuse that he's older, right? We can't use the excuse that, oh, well, he moved around too much. Well, it's your job to figure him out, right? Just like Chavez would figure out a fighter, just like I would figure out a fighter, just like any real great fighter can figure styles out. That's your job. I think Crawford did a tremendous job. Kudos to him. Sky's the limit for Crawford, and I really don't know where Canelo goes, seriously.
So that's a wrap for today's video. If you enjoyed the ride, don't forget to leave a like, hit subscribe, and tap that bell so you never miss what's coming next. Drop your thoughts in the comments. We love hearing from you. Stay tuned, and we'll see you in the next one.